Okay, we are diving deep today. We've got this huge stack of sources you sent, over biographies, interviews, memoirs,
Hmm.
and they all point to one person, probably one of the most uh, unpredictable entrepreneurs on the planet, Richard Branson.
And really, the core of it all, what every source comes back to, is this one philosophy.
Right. It's distilled into just 4 words. Screw it, let's do it.
Exactly. He's called the Maverick in Paradise, and that nickname really
It
fits.
does.
Yeah.
But it's not just about being reckless, which I think is a common misconception. It's really this fundamental belief that, anything can be done if you just start.
That's the key distinction, I think, for anyone listening. This isn't just about daydreaming or positive thinking. He sets these incredibly practical goals.
Yeah.
He figures out the how.
Yeah, it's about action, not just wishing.
Mhm.
And the foundation for all of this, for his entire drive, is actually something pretty surprising from his childhood. He struggled, like really struggled with reading and writing at school. He had undiagnosed dyslexia.
And the teachers just thought he was lazy.
Exactly. So he basically had to teach himself to learn things in a completely different way. Yeah. He learned everything by heart.
Which turned into a kind of superpower for him. It developed this almost photographic memory that he says became one of his best business tools. It's a perfect example of adapting.
So when we see him taking on these insane challenges, the boats, the balloons, it all comes back to this very simple, almost ancient idea.
It does. I mean, you can go all the way back to Plato, who said, the beginning is the most important part of any work.
Right.
If you look at a journey of 1,000 miles and you think about every single step, you'll just be paralyzed. You'll never start.
So Branson's entire system is built to defeat that paralysis. The solution is just
do it. Just take that first step.
which sets us up perfectly for the first big theme we found. This philosophy of action, disruption, and risk.
Mm.
And it all starts with the nickname his own staff gave him,
Dr. Yes.
Dr. Yes. He just can't say no. He'll always find more reasons to do something than not to.
And if there's a rule in the way, he doesn't break it. Not really. He finds a clever legal way around it.
And this seems to run in the family. I mean, the story about his mother, Eve, during the war is just incredible. She wanted to be a pilot.
But only men were allowed to fly. That was the rule.
So she just put on a leather jacket, tucked her hair under a helmet, put on a deep voice, and got the job.
Yeah.
Started training new
The
pilots.
sheer audacity of it.
And she did it again later to become an air hostess. She didn't have the required Spanish or nursing training, so she just charmed the night porter into adding her name to the list.
It's a family trait, using charm and wit to get around, well, pointless rules.
And you can see that confidence in him as a teenager. He starts Student Magazine at, 15?
15 or 16, yeah. And his mom gives him £4 for stamps. That's it. And he spends the next 2 years just writing letter after letter, trying to sell ad space.
The grind must have been insane. But that belief, that Dr. Yes belief in himself, it pays off. He gets a 250-pound check, and suddenly he's interviewing John Lennon, Mick Jagger.
And that momentum leads directly to the core business principle we have to talk about. Be bold, but don't gamble.
This is such a critical point.
Yeah.
People see the crazy stunts and think he's just a gambler.
But he's not. Every big move is a calculated risk.
Right.
When he started Virgin Atlantic, he made sure that if the airline completely failed,
The music business would be fine.
exactly, the mothership, Virgin Music, would survive. The exposure was less than a third of its annual profits. There was always a survival plan.
I think the best story to illustrate this is from his TV show, The Rebel Billionaire,
Mm-hmm.
the finale. He offers the winner, Sean Nelson, a choice.
Yeah.
Take the guaranteed $1 million.
Or toss a coin for a bigger mystery prize, but risk losing absolutely everything.
And Nelson took the check. He took the $1 million.
Which you'd think for TV would be the boring choice.
Right. But Branson was genuinely relieved. He told him, if you had gone for the coin toss, I would have lost all respect for you.
And that's the whole philosophy right there. A calculated risk, like starting an airline, is based on analysis and a plan B. A coin toss is just random gambling. It's giving up control.
But even with all the planning in the world, you still need luck. The story with that flying machine.
Oh, that's terrifying. The three-wheeled bike with wings.
He couldn't cut the engine. He's soaring 100 feet in the air and has to literally burn his hands, pulling wires, just to get it down.
He survived. The inventor died in a crash a week later. It's a sobering reminder that the risks are very, very real.
And taking those risks, physical or financial, it just wouldn't be worth it if the motivation wasn't right. And that brings us to the next big theme, the idea that fun leads to money.
He's very clear on this. He says the secret to success isn't focusing on the money is secondary.
The main thing is to find a challenge you actually enjoy,
Yeah.
something that gets you excited. His whole logic is, if I have fun, the money will come.
You even see it in his failures. I mean, that first business attempt when he was 9.
The Christmas trees. Planting 400 seeds to make, what was it, 795 pounds?
Yeah. And the rabbits ate all of them. Total disaster.
But not really, because he got experience with figures, which was huge for him with his dyslexia. And they still made a tiny profit.
Right. By shooting the rabbits and selling them for a shilling each. So the initial plan failed, but he learned, he adapted, and they still came out ahead in a way.
And that idea that fun is the driver is also key to knowing when to change course, like with his co-founder, Nick Powell.
When the airline risk got huge, Nick just wasn't having fun anymore. The financial exposure was too much for him.
And so they split, amicably. And Nick went off and started Palace Pictures, ended up winning an Oscar for The Crying Game.
Which just proves the point. You don't have to stay tied to something you don't enjoy anymore. You can find a new path and be just as successful and probably happier.
I think the ultimate story of fun leading to a huge goal has to be Necker Island.
Oh, absolutely.
It starts with him in Jamaica, just having a good time signing reggae bands. Then he gets a call from Joan, a woman he wants to impress.
So he flies them to the British Virgin Islands on one of those free house hunting tours, pretending he can afford a place even though he's totally broke.
And then they see Necker, remote island, no fresh water, owned by an English lord who wants £3 million for it.
3 million. And Branson offers what, less than 5% of that? 150,000?
And he gets thrown out, obviously.
Of course.
But he doesn't give up on the goal. He does his research. And 3 months later, he finds out the owner needs exactly £180,000 fast to build a house in London.
So he buys the island for 180,000. A goal born from a fun, spontaneous trip, but executed with cold, hard calculation.
It's the exact same pattern as Virgin Atlantic. He's on holiday, his flight to Puerto Rico gets canceled.
So instead of just waiting around, he charters a plane, grabs a blackboard.
Writes Virgin Airways, divides the cost, and sells tickets for £39 a head. He turns a ruined holiday into a new airline.
That's the definition of living in the moment and taking action.
But when you're always operating like that, like Dr. Hope Kess, you're going to hit some serious walls. And that leads to our third theme, the endurance of extreme challenges, the idea to never give up.
He even ties this back to his family history. His granddad's cousin was Captain Robert Scott.
The one famous for being second to the South Pole.
Exactly. But it was that drive, that pushing against impossible odds that Branson wanted to embody.
And he got tested right away. In 1984, his first attempt at the Blue Ribbon, the fastest ocean crossing.
And he sets off right as his son Sam is being born. His wife Joan literally told him, go, just do it.
But the boat, the Virgin Atlantic Challenger, sinks. 60 miles from Ireland in a massive storm.
Now, most people would stop there. I mean, you lost a multi-million-pound boat. It's over.
But not him. 6 years later, he's back with Challenger II. And they almost fail again. Seawater gets in the fuel tanks. The crew wants to give up.
But Branson refuses. He knows it's their last shot. And they beat the record by just 2 hours and 9 minutes. It's that endurance, that follow-through, that's so crucial.
The risks just got bigger from there. The Pacific balloon crossing in 1990.
I mean, that was just terrifying. A rival had just died trying to do the same thing.
And the details are just harrowing. They're flying in the jet stream at over 200 miles an hour. At one point, they shoot up to 42,500 feet.
Higher than pretty much any commercial plane. They were afraid the capsule dome would just explode from the pressure change.
They had burning gas falling around them, sub-zero temperatures, and then they crash land in a blizzard on a frozen lake in the Canadian Arctic.
Hundreds of miles off track, suffering from frostbite. The level of mental toughness required for that is just off the charts.
But those adventures, they're not just for thrills. They also build his reputation. And that leads to his other core value here. Have respect and keep your good name.
Right. And for this, we have to talk about the Phil Collins story.
It's brilliant. So Branson's in a rush. He gets in a cab, and the driver's super chatty. Wants to stop for tea with his mom, wants Branson to listen to his demo tape.
And Branson, trying to be polite, reluctantly agrees to stop for tea.
Only to find out the cab driver is actually Phil Collins in disguise.
He was testing him, testing to see how he'd treat a regular person, a cabbie, when he was in a hurry.
And Branson later used that exact same trick on the rebel billionaire to test his contestant's character. It's a great lesson. Respect isn't situational.
But he learned the value of that reputation in the hardest way imaginable.
The tax-free record scam in 1971.
Yeah, this is the critical story. In the early days, he had this clever little trick of pretending to export records, getting a tax stamp, then just selling them tax-free in the UK.
Until he got caught. Drove in a suspicious circle at Dover, and customs raided his shops.
And he's thrown into prison. The bail is set at £30,000.
Which, in 1971, you have to understand, that's like £500,000 today. It's a life-destroying amount of money.
And his mother had to put up their family home to get him out.
That was the moment everything changed for him. He paid a massive fine, £45,000, 3 times what he'd made illegally.
And he vowed right there to do things the right way for the rest of his life. He paid back every single penny without moaning. The lesson was burned into him.
Your reputation is everything.
Everything.
And once that reputation was solid again, it let him move into our final section, making a difference and finding purpose.
It started small, giving clothes to a homeless man, starting a student advice center, which, incredibly, is still running today.
But as his wealth grew, he realized money could be a colossal force for good.
Right. He saw how entities like Harvard or the IKEA Trust or Paul Newman giving all his profits to charity were using capital to make a global impact.
And he realized his position as this famous, connected businessman gave him a unique angle.
And that all came to a head in 1990, during the Kuwait crisis. He was turning 40, having a bit of an existential crisis, and he decided he had to do something.
And he immediately uses his network. He had a personal relationship with King Hussein and Queen Noor of Jordan.
Who he'd taught to fly a hot air balloon.
Of course he had.
His feast move was genius. He sent a jumbo jet full of blankets and medical supplies for the refugees. Which was great, but it was also public pressure.
It forced his rival, British Airways, to also send aid. He used competition to create more humanitarian action.
But the really huge risk was when he decided to fly to Iraq to meet Saddam Hussein and ask for the release of foreign hostages.
He risked the entire airline doing that. The plane had no insurance. If Saddam's regime had seized it, that could have been the end of Virgin Atlantic.
But that massive, selfless gamble paid off. He got the women and children released. He flew them back home. It proved that a businessman with goodwill and a network could sometimes do what governments couldn't.
And that faith, that goodwill, it all comes back to family. The whole empire was basically started because his Aunt Joyce took out a mortgage on her own house to give him £7,500 for the first studio.
She just believed in him. And she believed that money is for making things happen.
It's the perfect summary of his whole approach. The money isn't the point, it's the fuel.
Exactly.
So as we wrap this up, we've got these 4 pillars. Just do it, have fun, never give up, and keep your word so you can do some good.
And that philosophy is still going. His goals now are Virgin Galactic, space flights, funding archaeology dives, but he's also trying to find a balance.
That's the fascinating part now. He's learned to catnap, to maximize his time, but he's also trying to really live the moment.
He talks about these fishermen in Japan who seem totally content just catching enough for their family for the day. And he's trying to get some of that.
So when he's with his family, he rations himself. Only 15 minutes of business a day. The rest of the time, he's just present.
And to bring it all full circle, back to his dyslexia, he still writes everything down in old school notebooks. Still. He just jots down keywords to spark ideas, to remember conversations. It's this tiny analog habit born out of a struggle that helps support this massive global high-tech empire.
So you have these 2 extremes, the man who risks his life in a balloon over the Pacific, and the man who finds peace just watching swans on his lake. He's always driven by the next goal. So I think the final challenge for you, for the listener, is this. If you adopt that just do it mantra in your own life, what's that crucial balance point? Where do you decide to live fully in the moment versus chasing that next huge audacious goal? That's a constant negotiation.